Is it possible that some companies have become bigger than governments? Corporatism, the merger of corporations and the state, is the new model, an indistinguishable line between the two, generally fluid and inconsistent. The world you think you know is simply a mirage. Welcome to the new world. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. I am your host, George Soros, and today we are going to talk about Apple. That's right. Let's get into it. If Apple were a foreign country, CEO Tim Cook might have considerable political clout in the United States. They own a whopping $52.6 billion in U.S. Treasury securities. That is absolutely massive. So I'll get into how big that really is in a moment. We're talking about one of the top 25 major foreign holders. And that's not a country. We are talking about companies. That puts them ahead of Israel, Mexico, and the Netherlands. I'll show you the more details on that. This information is public. This isn't some sort of Yeti and Sasquatch UFO sighting. This is part of the Treasury Department statistics. This is part of the SEC filings. You can see those for yourself. Everything that these companies own, you can see those. So Apple's stake had increased from 40 billion last year. It continues to increase. Their cash reserves are simply growing. They've got a lot of money right now. Even though they hired 100,000 engineers to work on Project Titan with no results whatsoever. And yet they're just burning through the money and it's not a problem for them. So let's get further into it. What I wanted to talk about here, now this is talking about Europe, but just stay with me for a moment. The European Commission finding that Ireland must collect as much as an attention-getting 13 billion euros in back taxes from Apple contained a second stunning number, and that is 0.005%. So what is that? The effective corporate tax rate that Apple paid in its profits in 2014. So if you earn 1 million, you'd have to pay $50. $50 in tax on $1 million. That would be great. You wouldn't have too many people complaining about the extortion if they were only paying $50 for that million. But guess what? You and I, we pay a lot higher than that. We pay a lot higher than that. But if you are one of the big corporations, you're going to have every loophole in the world. I'm not talking about the small business who gets some loopholes for sure, but we're talking about the big businesses. And they pay little to no tax. Maybe it wasn't 0.005%. Maybe it was higher. Maybe it was 2%. Maybe it was 5%. Maybe 10%. Doesn't matter. They pay a significantly lower rate. They make more profit. They have every loophole in the world. They are able to do whatever they want, whenever they want. They get the bailouts. And we get, that's right, the short end of the stick. So, I'll move on. I just wanted to show you that, all right? Let's look at this. These are Apple's holdings. Corporate securities, 150 billion. Treasuries, 50 billion. Mortgage and asset backed, check this out. They own 20 billion of the garbage that was part of the financial crisis. 20 billion worth. That is absolutely massive. Sure, 20 billion when you think about the grand scheme of things, how much money is out there. But $20 billion for one single company to own, that's very significant. And they own much more there. We're talking about $261 billion. 261 billion. One single company. And then we look at this. Apple's total cash and investments. Doesn't surprise me that since the financial crisis, this has been rising and rising and rising. Apple has seen a massive influx of cash to its doorstep. And one of the biggest supporters of Apple is the Swiss National Bank. The Switzerland Central Bank has been purchasing large amounts of Apple stock. They've been purchasing other companies as well. Now think about this for a moment. It's something I was pondering. You have the Swiss National Bank and other central banks around the world printing up large sums of money. Then they buy up the corporate debt, or they buy into the shares directly. Let's just say Swiss National Bank is buying Apple shares, all right? Apple then turns around and buys US debt. So in effect, the Swiss National Bank has been bailing out the US government. Now that's strange. It's strange to think about it like that. I mean, they do so directly anyway, but sort of that indirect way to do so. And then we have Apple's investments going on. We have the other way around where the US is able to give the loopholes. They're all working together. I see the corporations and the governments, despite the fact that you see borders, the globalists, they don't. They do not see those borders. That worries me. Apple Treasury holdings, short and long term, you could see that there. Not too much to say about that. Apple corporate security holdings, look, it's been increasing consistently. And we have a simple matter of fact. First of all, I don't want to get into the price. Apple stock, let me just say it. Apple stock may continue to increase month after month after month. That may happen. I'm not denying that. I am talking about corporatism, the merger of the corporations and the state, and the fact that they have control over every single facet of our lives, and we are funding this system. We choose to opt into it, especially those who put the cash in their pockets. You do what you want. I won't say a single thing. I just feel that we are giving in to these corporate fascist totalitarian systems, whatever you want to call them. And then in the end, look at Venezuela, look at historically all these different countries. Look at the US right now. You have an army, literally, of people willing to crush the skulls of the others if they are told to do so. All at the request of the elite. That's what this is all about. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. And if you found the videos informative, I know you'll find my books even more informative. You can check those out at Amazon. Links are in the description below. Take care.